Okay, we're going to talk today now about Chapter 5, which is about demand forecasting. So we're starting to get into now the real interesting parts of supply chain. So by the end of this, we're going to be able to talk a little bit more about what demand forecasting means in the supply chain and what the components of a forecast are, how it works with planning, how it works with replenishment, how it works with inventory, all those. So this is going to be a very meaty chapter. It's kind of long, so this may take 2 videos, but we're going to talk about it, and there's a lot of information here that is on your test. So we'll go through that and cover that now. All right, so managing demand. Demand means how much of what I manufacture is the market going to want, when are they going to want it, where are they going to want it? Are they going to want bathing suits in December in Minnesota, or are they going to want bathing suits in the summertime in Houston and in Florida, right? So a pull manufacturing environment, I'm going to explain to you what that means, and we're going to talk about how you can work with your suppliers to make sure that they do as much as they can to match the supply and the demand while maintaining the right cost, the right quality, and the right service. It's very complicated, but this is what we're going to talk about in this chapter. So the importance of demand forecasting. I need to know every week. Let's bring this back to our own homes. I need to know if my daughter's going to buy lunch at school 2 days a week and I need to pack 3 lunches, or if I need to pack 5 lunches because I need to make sure I have the right amount of bread. If I don't have the right amount of bread to make a sandwich for her every day, then I have to figure out something else to make her. Or if I have too much bread, then it's going to go bad before I can use it. So a forecast is the amount of demand so I can make good planning decisions. I know what to buy at the grocery store. I know how many sandwiches to make, etc. The goal here is to make sure that the deviation, if you want to use the word difference, if that's easier to understand, the difference between how much we think we're going to use and how much we're actually going to use. That's actual demand and forecast. And you have to figure out there's a lot of things that influence demand. Good forecasting means I have little inventory, so that means I don't have 2 loaves of bread sitting at the end of the week that went bad. I didn't spend a whole bunch of money on those 2 loaves of bread that I'm now going to throw away. I didn't run out. I didn't turn up on Thursday night to make the lunch for Friday and say, holy cow, we're out of bread. I only had to make sandwiches once a day because I had everything organized and I knew what to get. And my child was happy because my child had a good lunch. Now that is very, very simplified, but everyone is doing demand forecasting in their own lives. And I want you to understand that you think supply chain may be complicated, but if you walk through it about how you manage your own home, you can understand a lot of these concepts a lot easier. Okay, these are all in your test. Qualitative forecasting is based on opinion, past experience, intuition, a whole bunch of things. Quantitative is about math, it's about numbers, it's about historical data. Here's how you can remember which one's which. Quantity is a number. Quantitative comes from the same root, quantity and quantitative, the middle one. Math, numbers, historical data. Qualitative is about the quality of what you know based on what you've already done in the past. Time series are the most frequently used, and I'll explain to you why. There are 4 qualitative methods. These are all in your test. The jury of executive opinion, the Delphi method, the Salesforce composite, and the consumer survey. Let's take a look. The jury of executive opinion says we're all going to come in here, we're going to sit at a conference table, we're going to talk about what we know, we're going to look at what we know about our competition, we're going to look at what's happening in the market, there's an election coming, we're in the middle of a pandemic, whatever it is, the business environment, and we're going to say, boom, this is what we think we're going to sell. That's it. The Delphi method says we're going to get some people within our company, we're going to get some people outside of our company, and we're going to look at just some things that we know about future events and what's coming and what's out there in the world, and we're going to develop a forecast. Salesforce composite says we're going to ask every salesperson that works for us to tell us what they think they're going to sell, and then we're going to put all that together, we're going to do some stuff to it. Maybe we're going to say this person's overly optimistic, this person's too pessimistic. We're going to kind of massage the numbers a little bit, and then that's going to be the number. The last one is the consumer survey. So we ask customers, do you think you're going to buy a new car in the next 6 months? the next 9 months, the next 12 months. We survey people. We take all that information with opinions that we know about what new products we have coming out, and we say, we think we're going to sell this many. Now, that probably sounds crazy to you that a big company would run that way, and nobody really does. Those are 4 ways that people can use qualitative techniques. Let's talk about quantitative. Quantitative says, last year in March, we sold this much. So next year, we think business will be up 5%. We sold 100 last March. We should sell somewhere around 105 this month. The problem with that is, what's the difference between this September and last September, or this March and last March? Is we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? Or if you think back to my example I gave you a couple of chapters back about the Super Bowls in town, there are things that can skew that. So you have to make sure that you're looking at numbers that make sense if you're going to use time series forecasting. Cause and effect forecasting says it's an election year, people are going to spend less money. It's Christmas, people are going to spend more money. It's Hanukkah, people are going to spend more money. If you look at the bottom here, it's generally recommended that people use a combination of quantitative and qualitative techniques. No one of these 6 or 8 techniques is going to be the one that's going to provide everything that you need. So I want to talk to you about some of the time series. Let me just go back really quick. So time series is the one that says, last March we sold this much. This March we think business will be up 5%. It should look like this. Here are some things that you have to add to time series to make sure it makes sense. What's the trend? Are people buying more iPhones now than they did 2 years ago? Or are they buying fewer iPhones? Are people spending more in restaurants now? Are they spending less in restaurants? Whatever it may be that impacts your business. Cyclical movement. So business cycle. Is the economy on an upswing? Or there's an election this year. Is the economy on a downswing because of this pandemic? Seasonal variation. So things like we always sell more in November and December than we do in January and February because our product has some holiday component to it. People sell a lot more. You sell electronics like TVs and things like that. November, December, and January is over half your business. November and December because of the holidays, but January because people buy new TVs for the Super Bowl. And then random variations that could be due to things like the Super Bowl is coming to your specific city and it's going to skew demand. You sell something that is like a generator or plywood or something like that, and you have a season where there's a lot of hurricanes, and so you sell more than you expected. You know you're going to be more busy in the summertime, but it was even more than you expected. So things like that. Do not panic. I'm not going to ask you to do this kind of math, but I just want to let you know there are formulas for how you can calculate this. Most of this is done in software. You would never see this formula. I just want you to know that this formula exists. This would be something that a spreadsheet or a system would kick out for you to show you what that looks like. You don't need to know any of these, so just skip over all these math-looking slides. We're not going to go through any of this. It's not. You would never be asked to do it. A system does it, and there's no reason that you should know it. So I'm going to skip over like 20 slides in here. All right, this is on your test. So CPFR, Collaborative Planning, Forecasting, and Replenishment. This says everybody's going to work together. We're going to figure out what we need, and we're going to make sure that we're planning such that we can fulfill our customers' needs without having too much stock and without ever running out. The value becomes because you share your forecast with everyone. You share it with your suppliers, you share it with their suppliers, and what it makes the bullwhip effect go away. It says, that middle bullet says, does away with the shifting of inventories among trading partners that sub-optimizes the supply chain. That's a lot of words. That basically says, if you share and you're collaborative and you give that information to your supply base, they are able to optimize their inventory so that they don't have to charge you extra money to carry things that you're not going to need. This is the benefits of this. This, I think, is on your test. But you need to know that the most important thing here would be that it's strengthening that partner relationship and giving you the ability to collaborate for the future. There's a couple slides here. All right. Forecasting websites here. This is just out of the book. You don't need to know any of these. And a couple of these companies have actually been acquired by other companies now. But this is the end of chapter 5. So this was a little bit of a shorter one. We're going to do chapter 6, and then I'll get you ready for your test.